Good morning, traders. It looks like we are staying in the green for right now. We need to keep watch to see if we start to leak. Of course, we got PCE to come in today. That came in mainly in line. If you look at the year over year index, it actually went down. So that doesn't look too bad there. We'll take a look at all the action. We got a lot of earnings reports that have come out. Of course, if one earning report stands out more to you because it's on your watch list, well, tell us about it in the chat. Like always, we're here for you guys, like always, team. So if there's a stock that's on your radar, on your watch list, or for any reason, something that's moving and you don't understand why, that's exactly what we're here for, team. Welcome to Live Trading with Benzinga. Let's get it started.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
Pizza Trader signed up for the book club. I got you, my friend. I'll go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a resend of the email for anybody that's joined in the last day or two. So stay tuned for that unlisted link. Pizza Trader, you get to join in on the book club and get to be a part of the behind the scenes. If you'd like, all you got to do is RSVP. You can actually be a part of the discussion. That's when it really gets great for you because you'll be able to work through your barriers in the knowledge and really take that knowledge to skill. But that's enough of the book club. Let's bring on my friend. You guys know him, Ryan Faloona. What's going on? How are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing all right, man. Doing all right here today. Losing my voice again right before the weekend, but
Addles. Well, just get a little mint, little green tea action. I see you, Ryan. I already know. My boy's not. Hey, he knows how to do it right.
Winter mint tea in the cup as we speak, Mitch.
Love it. That's what I like to hear there. We're going to get into the action. Let's take a look at the market overall. I'm going to share my screen here, and then we'll go to Ryan's.
Cool.
First thing I'll see is, for the overall market, I really don't have levels here until 410, right? At least for upside, right? Maybe we could look at these daily highs like 405, but really, we're looking at that 410. Can we get back there, right? Another thing I think is important to notice is, right, can we just make our way back towards 400? That's still in room, right? And I think that right now, as long as we're staying above like 400 or maybe even like 395, bulls still have control. At least in my eyes, we're going to keep it that way, right? And at least if the 50-day moving average is continuing to move higher, that shows us also bullish action. Look how from essentially December, that's when we started actually uptrending on the 50-day moving average. That shows us that at least the price action from the last 50 days has been great. Now we need to see if this starts to trend downward at any moment when we start getting that downside action. Right now, still pointing to the upside, still climbing. Let's say from Tuesday, it was at 392.89. We're right now 393.27, still continuing to climb. The 200-day still continuing to go down. We need to see if that turns. If that does turn, then you got all moving averages pointing to the upside. At least in my case, that would mean just upside action coming. We'll see what happens there. Of course, today PCE came through. Told you guys a little bit about that. We'll see what happens on Intel. Definitely the disaster stock of the day. And I don't know if Ryan's the way that if Ryan feels the way he feels, like I feel about Intel, but I just feel like this is one of those companies that needs to change, needs to innovate, needs to create performance again. They're not what they used to be. They used to be like, let's say, a 5-to-1 pick over AMD. And now I think they're kind of more just 50-50. Half the people choosing AMD, half the people choosing Intel. And if that's going to continue, well, what's going to be the one driver that can make one better than the other? It's going to be performance. And right now, I don't see that performance coming out of Intel. I see that performance increase coming from the AMD chips. That's why I think in the long term, I want AMD versus an Intel. Is this a change? Yes. But Intel's been favored for so long. And now it just seems to me like a poorly run company.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on Intel are that I'm someone that builds computers, just to give you a little bit of context. In fact, I haven't bought a pre-built computer since probably the 1990s. That is, hate to date myself. But I build all my machines, so I select the parts. And when I do this, I select the parts that give you the best performance, and often looking for the best performance with respect to the price, so the best bang for the buck. And for a long time, as you were saying, Mitch, Intel was a clear winner. You got excellent performance. The chips didn't have overheating issues. It was very easy to cool, both air cool or water cool for anyone building PCs at home. Intel was the choice. And that kind of changed a couple of years ago. The Ryzen chip really did a great job. AMD's chip is excellent, runs a little bit hotter, but it's still able to be cooled with conventional means. And I think that that's starting to now bleed through. Now, I know that both of these companies have revenue streams from just outside home computer builders or people that use computers. There's more that goes into it. But from the angle that I sit at, that's kind of where I draw my perspective. Now, with Intel, they had an awful quarter. I think it was July of last year, one of the worst quarters for a public company I've ever seen. And the quarter yesterday wasn't great either. So I'm with you, Mitch. I think at some point, something's going to have to change here. I don't know what it is. Andy, good morning.
You know, Ryan, for me, what was the real like turning point in my eyes, where I really got to the point where I just clearly say AMD over Intel, was the new gaming consoles. Why would they choose AMD over NVIDIA? Both of them, Sony and Microsoft. That told me something there. That regardless of why you want to bring in the whys there, they chose AMD. And this is an important thing to catch. When you're starting to see that, what does that do? Well, if I was a gamer and I knew that AMD chips are in there, am I going to start to favor AMD chips? Probably, right? I mean, that's just what you see.
The product is better now. It was a switch. What do you call that? Changing of the guard, right? The Intel's chips used to lead. AMD's chips, you get just the same performance, often for cheaper. So in any case, I was going to say, Andy, you said I bought it. I wasn't sure if you meant Intel or BuzzFeed. We are going to look at BuzzFeed here in a sec.
Yeah, we'll
I wasn't sure which one you meant, but maybe playing this for a bounce. Who knows? To me, longer term, I wouldn't be ready to buy Intel. Not a good quarter. I'm with you. And the other thing is the products that I use are AMD. Computers that I have here are AMD. So, okay. And did you want to go into something in AMD?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to cover at least the Intel that was disaster stock of the day. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at what you're looking at, my friend.
Okay.
How you see the markets. First
thing, you did a great job covering the SPY here. We did get a data print here this morning. Had the core PCI pretty much in line, right? So the PCE price index 4.4 versus the 4.4 estimate. So we're in line there. Market really didn't react to it, pretty much flat from where we're at. So kind of a non-factor there. When we take a look here at the SPY, we've been looking at this SPY chart every day now, and I think it's pretty prudent. We talked about these two purple lines here being a resistance area, and now the SPY has pushed up into that area. So again, I'm going to stay in the camp that I don't think it breaks this resistance area. I think we probably find resistance here anywhere between 403 and 408. We're currently at 403.34 now, so close to the bottom end of that range. I wouldn't be surprised if this market pulled back. I know I sound like a broken record. I definitely have a bearish outlook on the near term on the market, and I expect it to trade lower. Really, the question is that, how high can this go? And realistically, I think this 403 to 408 is probably the area, but you could probably go as high as 410 as well. So just kind of keep that in mind. One of the things that we've been successful with here is trading some of the ETFs that mirror the S&P or the NASDAQ or the semiconductors for that matter. So we'll keep looking for trades like that. But for SPY here, it doesn't necessarily make sense. I still think we should be going lower. We'll see if we end up reversing her, if we run into this resistance in this area that we're in now. So that's one of the things I'm going to be watching every day. Okay, let's go over to the movers list. I see a lot of people want to talk about BuzzFeed, although I can't imagine why. Ended up being the stock that ended up moving after we got off air, right? So we talked quite a bit about being ready for a stock that has a volume expansion in the afternoon. And it's really been part of what we've seen every day. And they've been different stocks. GNS was one. There were a couple others that happened recently. But BuzzFeed yesterday was the one that did this. Now, I will say for a day trader, this was probably your best option yesterday, right? I don't believe that the news catalyst that we got yesterday is anything material. This is the king of fake news, in my opinion. Facebook being number 2, and Facebook's the one investing in this. So to me, this is a non-issue at all. I don't like this company. I would not buy this for an investment. I would not dream of holding this overnight. Now, that being said, we are setting up here to make a run at 3 and perhaps a pop above 3. So one of the things that we're going to take a look at are some of the key levels that I've identified here on the chart, as well as the volume flow. This is all going to be about volume. If we take a look here at the short interest, it's almost nothing, right? So we've got only 1% of the float shorted, days to cover 4. There's really nothing here, right? So the squeeze, short squeeze, anything like that, I don't really think that comes into play here on BuzzFeed. This is just going to be technical trading action. This is on the list here today. Like I said, we got an opportunity yesterday. We're going to keep it on the list until it shows that it doesn't have the strength, and it hasn't done that here. It looks like it's actually trying to take out yesterday's intraday high. If we do that in the market, I would expect a run towards 3, and I wouldn't be shocked to see a pop above 3 either. So that covers BuzzFeed. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the other stocks in here. I know a lot of you guys were talking about, you guys are talking about some of the bigger numbers like the Amex print. We'll take a look at that here at the end. Might be worth, Mitch might have something lined up, so we'll ask him when he gets back. Michael saying, hey guys, can't you give me a word about natural gas? Really low. Yeah, we will talk about natural gas here because there are a number of traders in this program that are actually waiting to trade some of those nat gas ETFs like UNG and Boyle. So Michael, sit tight. We will talk about that here in a sec. Let me just roll through some of the stocks off the movers list because these are likely to be in play today. First one here is going to be QNCX. I feel like we've traded this one before, but I might be confusing it because it's in the same theme, right? Theme me up, Scotty. We are definitely experiencing the similar types of stocks that go on these crazy runs every single day. We have a catalyst here. Quince Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company announced the sale of legacy small molecule protease inhibitor portfolio to Lighthouse Pharmaceuticals. So I'm just going to be open, and I have no idea what that means. I have no idea what small molecule protease inhibitor portfolio is. Market seems to like this, although we traded up to 170 and pulled all the way back. One thing, and actually we've broken that 129 support. So let me go see if I can identify. We'll wait for this to settle out here. I don't necessarily want to just plop lines for the hell of it. I want to actually see if it can confirm any type of near-term support. So we've retraced about 50% of the move. We've seen this before, right? We've seen stocks actually retrace 75% of the move only to reverse and give us trading opportunities to the upside. I would expect the same thing, or I shouldn't say I would expect. I would be looking for the same thing here out of QNCX. Next is going to be AUVI. This is Applied UV, and this was an interesting one because this has definitely been on our scanner before. We're getting the type of formation that I absolutely love to day trade on some of these smaller names, a push up into a level that's clearly defined, a pullback, and then a breakthrough on expanding volume. This is the pattern that I try to wash, rinse, and repeat every single day, and we're seeing it already here in the pre-market. So the question for me is going to be, do we get the same type of behavior if we break some of these highs? I'm going to be watching AUVI as it goes through all of its different levels here that we've identified, but the one that I'm the most curious about is, can we get back up to 172, and do we have a nice strong pop to the upside above 172? Don't know there. Got a catalyst here. Applied UV shares are trading higher. The company announced it has engaged a legal counsel to investigate potential illegal short selling of its stock. So I have seen on Twitter, there's a lot of talk about naked shorts and all that. I'm not necessarily following that. I don't want to get involved in the spat between short sellers and people that are trying to trade. Not my thing. However, that looks like that's kind of factoring into why AUVI is moving up here. So just kind of keep that in mind. That can change with the wind. We already talked a little bit about BuzzFeed. Next here is going to be TCBP, and this is TC Biopharm Holdings. Again, part of our theme for stocks that are showing that they like to run. The interesting thing here is that the lines that we've drawn from a previous session here that I drew in the dark blue, those are absolutely still in place. I actually only drew one line here this morning, and it was that 720 high that I would expect this to challenge at the market open. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to look for volume expansion. You can see yesterday that we got this in the afternoon as well, went from 450 all the way to 575. This was much later in the afternoon. So let's see if we have any follow through here today. And if we don't see some of the upside strength, let's try to figure out exactly where it bottoms and curls, because as we've seen from some of the members here in chat, that has actually been the trade. Shout out to Crow here, who's really been nailing some of these stocks that kind of come back in and curl. That can sometimes be a little bit more difficult, but if you time your entry right, you can actually get a much better entry, and that's one of the things we're going to be looking at for some of these here. Next, we have Remark Holdings. This one I've seen before. I've probably traded this before. Looks like the first thing that we have here. This is not really like a juicy opportunity. We'll see if this ends up going at when the market actually opens here. But yesterday's intraday high 146, we busted through that, went almost as high as 2. We're holding right around that 146. So if we get any type of buying volume, maybe we can make a move towards that 170 area. We'll see here. Next is going to be Bed Bath & Beyond. I almost called it Bloodbath & Beyond, and that's exactly what happened. So one of the things that we talked about yesterday is that, you know, and we've talked about it a number of times. It wasn't just yesterday, but with some of these stocks that are going through bankruptcy proceedings, look like the business is not going to survive. You really are playing with fire. And it's true. Some of these stocks have given us big time trades to the upside. And for traders who are looking to get in and get out and capture movement, they don't necessarily care about what the future prospects of that company is. I get it. But at the same time, those companies are susceptible to headlines. And if you were trying to day trade this yesterday, if you didn't have a stop or you didn't have protection, you might have had a bad day on a huge, huge knife that happened awfully fast. It's going to be difficult to get out of any shares that you're holding when the selling is that ferocious. So Bloodbath & Beyond here this morning. Well, I'm not going to trade this at all today for sure. I'm probably going to not. I don't even know if I'm going to place a single trade today. I don't feel all that great, so I don't want to compound my problems. But Bed Bath & Beyond here, if you're looking at actual levels, the first thing that you want to do is watch this 262. The contrarian in me is saying, well, Ryan, I know you don't like the company, but what if it breaks this and it goes into this area that's kind of a gap? Okay, we'll see if that ends up materializing. If that's how you want to trade it, go ahead. Just make sure that you keep your stops tight on this name. This is not something that you can trust. Okay, MLGO, this was from yesterday, right? We had a nice move yesterday, had a huge pop here in the morning, and then we really didn't have a whole lot of anything else the rest of the day. Let's see if we get a repeat of that here today. So one of the things we'll be looking at here, first things first on the list here is to get back above 3. You can see we actually got above 3 briefly in the pre-market here, but we were unable to hold that. So what I'd like to see is a nice move through 3, especially if it's in the regular session, and then a build above that. Maybe we can go for some of these highs. Probably worth marking off the 375 intraday high from yesterday's spike. Not saying we'll get there, but maybe. We shall see. Okay. There are a couple of other stocks that you folks wanted me to take a look at. Chris, you're asking about Chewy. Sure, we can take a look at Chewy. This is, of course, Buddy's favorite stock in the stock market. They actually have an upgrade today. So this is a company that I use and love. Full disclosure, I use them all the time. Probably spend 90% of my pet supplies budget goes to Chewy. So I'm definitely a fan of how they treat customers as well as the business itself. Now, looking at this, Chewy shares are trading higher after Wedbush upgraded the stock from neutral to outperform and raised its price target from 35 to 55. So remember, one of the things we talked about yesterday is the difference in a price target adjustment versus a actual rating. In this case, we get both, right? We get an upgrade from neutral to outperform, definitely bullish, and we get a price target re-rating from 35 to 55. So a pretty healthy price target upgrade there on Chewy. To me, it looks like this is trying to go higher. If it can get above 50, really like it. If that's the case, we'll see if it has the strength. Every time, or the last couple of times that it bust above 50, we were unable to hold that. So I want to see that type of momentum change. Okay. What was the other one that I saw in here? ENPH. You guys are asking about ENPH yet again. Let's take a look and see. I didn't even look at ENPH today. What's going on here? Okay. So it looks like continued breakdown here in Enphase. Let's see, was there any news? Enphase Energy and Enerex to expand solar and battery storage product offerings in Europe. Okay, that sounds good. Sounds good. Looks like we have a passive stake here taken. Okay, so looking at this, I'm sorry, I don't have a like a line on this or an angle or anything. It does look like this is set up for a bounce, right? We've really traded down fairly quickly. When we got to 225, we bounced from 225 to 265 thereabouts. So 40-point bounce, pretty awesome if you're going to try to capture that to the downside. This looks like a support area that it wants to bounce from. Maybe it trades down to 200 and bounces from there, but I would imagine at some point this is going to bounce. No, I would say if we break this, your next spot's probably 175 on the downside. But EMPH, this to me, just to my eye, just from looking at the chart here, this looks like this is set to bounce here in the near term. All right, Mitch, you got anything else that you want to take a look at here? I want to go blow my nose before the market opens.
You got it, my friend. All right, put up First Solar here. First Solar is one that I'll be watching to see if we come back down, right? EMPH is coming down, but First Solar seems to want to hang on. It's definitely become the leader in this space now. And for a long time, it was a favored stock and it wasn't having the great lift, right? Well, look at it. It's been recently. It's been really strong, has held pullbacks. Right now, there's like a daily trend line that we're looking to see if we get back above, right? Do we get towards the 180s and continue pushing? Or are we going to just come right back down into this and come through 170s today, going back towards 164? That's kind of the move I'll be looking for today on First Solar if EMPH can't get up, right? If EMPH heads towards 200, that should tell us something. We'll see what happens there. AMD will be another one to watch today with Intel coming down fast. What happens to AMD? Can it keep climbing the wall of worrying and going through 75? Or do we turn around through 72.38? Something to keep on watch. Another thing to keep on watch is how the moves have been early, not early on in the day, but later towards the afternoon. If you look at the last couple of days, look, we start with down action by 12 p.m. We're climbing. Yesterday, we start with down action. By 12 p.m., we're climbing. Note the pattern, team. This is one thing that I like to note and note often. When afternoon trading is doing better than morning trading, a lot of the times that's institutionals and algos just playing games with us, washing us out to deeper time frames out the open is a lot of the ways that they've been making money off of us in the last couple of days. And they make money off of us. Don't get it twisted, team. All right, let's go. Let's see what happens in the SPY today. Valero making my day back yesterday. You guys saw that trade, right? I don't know if you guys caught that. Valero was a nice one for me yesterday. We got it at 142, like 38. Sold it up there towards 147. Was a really nice trade. That put me back into the green yesterday, even though I had my internet hiccup, right? Well, got back into the green, one trade.
Steven asking me, RDHL exit point, please, Ryan. Steven, I don't even have an entry point on that. That is a penny stock that is 27 cents. I don't have an exit point for it. Sorry, my man.
Financial services up. Just want to kind of meant that. Visa getting a nice little lift. Of course, earnings, that's pushing that. AXP, also a good one to watch today. American Express getting the lift. And also, if you're looking at that, look at Capital One taking a nice little lift off through the high of Thursday, 117.83s. We're up to 117.66. Look to see if we keep going. Bid offers right there towards the highs.
BuzzFeed's first attempt at clearing its VWAP was rejected. It's back at it now. Mark, this is Remark Holdings that we had from the list here this morning. This running up to that 153. This would be the first spot that it actually needs to take out here in order for higher. And then the other thing, you folks wanted to take a look at Nat Gas, right? So let me quickly mention that. I ran out of time when I was going down my list. Nat gas. So there was part of what's going. First of all, nat gas is not an easy commodity to trade. I don't care what anyone says. I've talked to people that have 3, 4, and 5 times the experience that I do trading, and they all are on the same side. A lot of these commodities are difficult. Natural gas, sometimes known as the widowmaker, and oil really exemplifies that. UNG is the unlevered natural gas fund. This is what a lot of people trade. Your ticker in your broker for the nat gas contract is probably /NG or something of that nature. We don't have the future tickers here in Pro. The one thing that I will say here is that there was such speculation that this winter was going to be bad that a lot of people were gearing up for the price of nat gas to go up. They were all on the same side of the trade. And of course, we didn't have that, right? We didn't have, so far, we've had a mild winter. And as a result, a lot of this, in fact, in this country, I believe they're flaring nat gas off at some of these sites because they have too much supply. And I believe for Europe, we've been bringing tankers filled with liquefied natural gas, and some of those are sitting offshore. They're just not being used. So as far as natural gas goes, I would imagine at some point that this is definitely going to trade back up. Now, your guess is as good as mine at figuring out when that is. A lot of people in this show here really like to trade oil because of the 3x leverage that you get trading this particular product. There are a lot of people on the happy hour have been trading this. There are a number of people right now that are kind of underwater on this because they thought we were going to get a bounce 20 points ago, and we didn't. So again, what I would say here is if you're going to play this for a bounce, I get where you're coming from. I totally understand. But I don't know where the bottom is. And so until you can confirm either via headline or something or a chart where the price is actually reversing, I just don't know how safe this is. If you want to take stabs at this, just have a plan for downside and stick to your plan. Don't trade on hopium. Otherwise, you're really going to get yourself in trouble. The notion that this is going to bounce is, I think, is a good one. I think that's correct. I just can't tell you when that is. If I felt better about timing this, I'd probably be stalking entry on some of these ETFs on a daily basis, but I can't, so I'm waiting for something to confirm. Michael, let me know if that helps out even a little bit.
Good move there in Amazon to start the day. We'll keep watch to see what happens. SPY pushed up there to 404.23 and then start pulling back. 404 is an important close on like 5 minutes. We'll see what happens there. Taking a look at some oil names also to see if they can continue strong. XOM actually opened lower than where it was yesterday. It's already making its way back. We'll see what happens there. That got to 117 yesterday. We were looking at that at 114.58 to look at support. Yesterday, you went around 10.18. Went to right off of that, like 20 cents. Gave us a really good entry there on Exxon Mobil. We'll look to see if we get some pullback back towards 116. That's kind of the level that I would get it because I just think it's a little bit too far now. But we'll see what happens with that one. Oxy, look for Oxy to continue strong. Yesterday's tape really strong. Pulling back right now. Look for kind of prior resistance around 67. Looking for pullback buys on Oxy. We'll look to see if we get back down to 67. That's where I can see it reversing. And you could use kind of the 66.83 area as your support. We'll see what happens there. SPY pushing strong right now. With the SPY pushing strong, look for stocks that are in, of course, technology, like some software names. Those have been doing well. Like the one that has been doing well, like HubSpot. We'll take a look at some of these software names. Snow had a good day yesterday, continuing up today. So that shows me Pan W. That's been strong as of late. Maybe CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike pulling back right towards the VWAP now. This one doesn't look too bad. Daily chart has a nice little move above 105s on the chart. We'll see what happens. I actually kind of like this CrowdStrike move here.
Really quick,
hold pre-market support. Go ahead, man.
Really quick, QNCX, good shout here, Jay. This was a VWAP test, and it's now going higher, right? So we did test it. We actually broke above it. Looks like we tried to back test it a little bit as well. Volume is encouraging here. We're starting to push away from the VWAP. Right now, I would say I'd probably try to enter this. If you're not in it, I'd probably try to enter this a little bit closer to the VWAP. We'll see if this ends up kind of pulling back, maybe back testing that again. 170 looks to be the next spot here for me, though. As soon as it gets over this 143 area, 170, probably your next spot here. We'll see if QNCX can get some strength here. Volume looking good. We want to see these volume bars really kind of tick back up. We keep seeing that, and this might be a good opportunity here.
Got a starter there in CrowdStrike at 103.67s. Looking to add on this position on pullbacks, layering in here on the sizing. Just want to go ahead and start working my way in. Got a little bit on that pullback. Willing to also add down towards 103.55s and then hold down towards the low of the day of 103.18. Of course, this one has a little bit of a spread. Be careful there. We'll see what happens. CrowdStrike.
Another question here from Robin. Robin saying, good morning, guys. I'm wondering if you can give us some chart information on Disney. Good morning, Robin. It's great to see you again. Yes, I'd be happy to cover Disney. Perhaps Mitch can do that as well. Disney here, showing some pretty good strength here as of late, right? We really found a bottom here right around 85. And at this point now, we're 24 points off of that bottom. So a nice substantial move here. I think one of the things that I really like about it is on that first big leg up, we actually back tested one of those levels and held before taking the next leg up. So that's also encouraging for the strength of Disney here. Here's the one thing that I would take a look at. Let's go ahead and make this visual, right? Let's go ahead and draw a trend line. What happened? Come on, trend line. Why are you disappearing on me? Let's go ahead and draw this downtrend, right? Okay, so this to me is the big thing, right? This is that break. Not only did we actually trade up off that bottom in a very, very strong fashion, we broke through the trend line, back tested the trend line, and now are pushing higher. So this chart here looks pretty good. This is not a company that I'm a fan of at all. I don't have any position here, but given how it's trading recently and given what the chart looks like, looks pretty good. Maybe we find a little bit more support here just above 110, but ultimately I see this making a move towards 125 as long as the rest of the market cooperates. So decent looking chart here, Robin. Disney showing some strength after some prolonged weakness last year.
Another one that looked good, if you like my CrowdStrike type of play, right? Maybe you're looking for something cheaper. You can look at Sentinel One. That just did a nice little VWAP bounce. We'll look to see if that gets through 1470s.
QNCX back to its VWAP there. This is exactly why I said we should probably wait before entering that. Let me go ahead and bring it up. I wanted to check AUVI. It's getting some mention here in the chat. We will check on it. But again, this is why we didn't really want to chase, right? It looked good pushing up away from its VWAP. But once it does that, you don't necessarily want to take an entry there. That is a sloppy entry, in my opinion. And you'll see exactly why. We immediately pulled back to the VWAP. We're having a battle here. Let's wait for this battle to resolve. Maybe it does hold above VWAP and make another push and clear off that candle. If so, then we can probably trade that to the upside. If it breaks down here, we'll be glad we didn't buy it instead. So QNCX tried to push away from the VWAP here. Definitely want to wait that out, wait for some better entry here. Now that we've kind of broken beneath this, I actually want to see some strength, whether it be level 2, maybe across through the VWAP to the upside, maybe some expanding volume, anything that says, hey, we could probably go higher here, not just the actual number itself. So
one that looks good here, EMN, Eastman Chemicals. This is climbing back after getting hit last night. And so we've seen a lot of these stocks where they get hit on their earnings, right? And then they climb right back. If you look on the daily chart, this actually looks like a nice little pullback area around the 90s, maybe holding off the 89s as your support there, right? And we'll look to see if that can come back up through. There's a lot of wicks up here, but if we can come back towards 91.25s on the day, it's going to be looking pretty nice. So we'll look to see if we get a pullback to VWAP. For me, that's going to be a move back down towards 89. Right now it's at 90.30s. Had a nice push out the gates, about 2.5%. We'll see what happens on that one. Another one climbing the worries is Hasbro. They kind of gave warnings. It's climbing right back. We'll see what happens on that one. Visa and AXP having a good day there. AXP, of course, look for maybe COF to have a good day. That's pulling back. Maybe that gives us an opportunity. We'll see what happens there.
QNCX now continuing its breakdown beneath the VWAP. Awesome job avoiding the trap there, if you will. But speaking of the trap, here is Bloodbath and Beyond. We are trading back. It looks like it's trying to show some strength here, right? We're getting a little bit of volume to kind of increase, trading up to that 269 nice level that we have here. And it looks like it's trying to break it, but I'd be very, very careful. It's a trap. I absolutely think this is a trap. I think we got better opportunities somewhere else. But for those of you that really love trading this, looks like we're starting to gear here. Ryan Christopher, Ryan Mitch, love you guys. Thanks, my man. Thank you for your service, by the way. Really appreciate it. Love you too. What do you think about the short and long term with BA? Great question here, Ryan. Great question. Long term, I love Boeing. This is a solid company. Obviously, aircraft are going to be important for a long, long time. They have defense contracts. Lot to like here about Boeing. In the short term, though, this has been volatile, and we've seen it from everything from problems with specific planes to reduced orders, COVID obviously affecting whether or not airlines are going to buy new planes, so on and so forth. So, kind of been a battleground here. What I like, Ryan, I think what I would say here is I'm not sure that everything is out of the way here on Boeing. So what I would say is I would look for this 150 area for a potential entry. Now, we might not get that back, right? We might not. I don't know. I don't know what the future holds here for Boeing. And despite liking the company, I recognize that there are going to be some short-term headwinds that might stop it from being able to go on a prolonged run here. But I think that if you get any type of pullback towards this 150 level, probably fine to start nibbling. Again, because I like this for the long term, I would be okay with adding shares and then holding them for a longer period of time. I think inevitably this company is going to be higher. I wouldn't be shocked if we traded above 3 or even 400 again. As far as the max goes, I know that was a really big deal for a long time. I've actually had the pleasure of speaking to a Boeing engineer, and I asked him flat out off the record, hey, what do you think about this max plane? He's like, man, there's a lot of headache, but let me tell you this, that 737 MAX, that is going to be the safest plane that anybody ever gets on, just because of the amount of scrutiny that's going on from everything that happened here. So I know that's just kind of anecdotal, but long term, like this company. Short term, unsure about its prospects. I'd actually wait for this to come down to support levels and start maybe nibbling on that, just to kind of get yourself some exposure.
All right, team. We'll see if we can keep CrowdStrike going. I did add towards that. I have about 103.81s now. Still another order to add, but that didn't get filled down there towards 50. We'll see what happens if we can keep pushing on Sentinel-1. That'll look good there. Pan W is also the leader, right? We want to see if that can take off. That came back to VWAP, now holding above there. It did do a nice little move up, but then came right back down. We want to see if that can keep moving back through 159.50s. If that does, then I probably think we get that lift there in CrowdStrike. Relationship style play, right? Pan W has been starting to come back, starting to be strong. I'm looking for CrowdStrike to get back above towards 105 today.
Mitch, do you know offhand if Sentinel-1 was a SPAC?
No, I believe
I'm asking out of ignorance. I honestly don't know.
I think this was just an IPO. It just IPO'd. It just from my knowledge, it was just a regular IPO, and it was a favored one for a while, right? It went up there towards even almost 80, and then just came down hard. And one of the things that at least is a good looking sign, though, is that if you come busting out of this pattern here towards the upside through 15, through a lot of these wicks, to start pushing back. But you always have some overhead supply worries with this. Soxel having a nice little day there. SPY now towards 404.64s. We're looking good to the upside right now. So if you're playing upside moves, at least I wouldn't feel too bad. Of course, you guys choose which stocks you guys are going after. Apple did a nice little VWAP pullback. Amazon was a nice one that I was liking. Look at that VWAP pullback right there, right near the 100. So one of the things that I like about that is that how many people are looking at that 100 level on Amazon. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at that. Maybe even Ryan has heard probably someone mention Amazon 100. I mean, look at that. That's an important psychological level that we're starting to get back above on the daily chart for Amazon.
The round numbers are definitely important. They definitely have a psychological aspect. And honestly, Mitch, the bigger the round number, the more the impact, right? So 100 is going to be a big one. Amazon really strong out of the gate. Actually saw that accompanied with some call buying here, some unusual call buying on Amazon right out of the gate here. Amazon is, this is a tricky stock, right? This is a company that I have used and continue to use and love for a long time. Very, very difficult to trade. This was more of a buy and hold type situation, or that's where the best possible trade was. I think that this 100 level, I think that you're likely to see a battle here. And I think that once we're able to actually clear this 100 handle, it'd probably give you a better idea of where the stock is going. I would imagine that if we're able to hold and move above 100, we would continue to the upside here. Amazon seems to have its hands in everything. Don't really have any targets or anything, but I do actually like it. One more thing here real quick, Visa, right? So this was the antithesis of Intel. Intel, we had a really poor earnings report yesterday. Visa did not. Visa had the opposite, right? So nice little trade up yesterday in the after hours, and then another leg up here today. If we take a look at the daily chart here, you can see Visa is no stranger to this. I would expect 250 to be in play here unless we really start getting reports of the consumer breaking down and taking on too much debt or something of that nature. So possible swing long opportunity here on Visa. I currently have no position at this time, but I like this. I like Visa. I've traded the options here on Visa before, and this looks like this might be a pretty decent setup for a swing long here with earnings out of the way.
Visa, one of my favorite technical charts. I talk about it all the time. If you guys watch Stock Market Movers, well, you would probably know all about that. If you guys want to catch a show that talks about trends, that's what Stock Market Movers is all about. That's from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. And I've been talking about this level right here when we started breaking towards here. You can see right here on my trend line, created this on October 26th. We're going to look for a move to 220, a pullback back. Look at it on the monthly levels. Monthlies are beautiful on the 210s. Now you're starting to push here. MasterCard is very similar chart that I like. Look at that. This is what you could look for maybe today, having a good day. It did come down out the gates. Let's look for it to start driving. I'll look for a pullback maybe to VWAP to get on that MasterCard. But yeah, at least just technically wise, these are two of my favorite charts right now, Visa and MasterCard on the technicals.
Amazon looking good, by the way. I know we just talked about this. I had a different chart up, so I flipped over to it real quick. Take a look at this Amazon daily chart. It is a strong looking chart here, right? 80 clearly the near term bottom. We've used this 100 support 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times going back to May of 2022. So this 100 level, pretty key here. If we can close above 100, I think you probably have a little bit more of a run here. Gappy up to 110 here on Amazon as well. So decent opportunity here on a really good company.
And it gave you that beautiful pullback to 99.96. Man, what an opportunity there. Yep. I'll tell you right now, if there's one that I'll be having a little FOMO on today, that was it right there on Amazon. We'll see what happens later in the day. But if the SPY can keep pushing, I think Amazon can keep pushing. We talked about potentially 410s today, even on the SPY. Dennis Dick talked about that level too. I'm looking for that to really start going. Now that CrowdStrike's back above 104s, we're going to look to add again on this towards 104s. So I'll look to see if I can get that fill. It's already starting to push there to 104.45s. So we're looking really good. Here's 104.60s. I don't think we get that pullback now. You see how it just ripped there on CrowdStrike. I'm looking great for a sell partially at 105s, and then we can look to keep going. Looking good there on CrowdStrike. All right, we're already getting there, so I'm trying to sell some out here.
AUVI looking pretty good here. Who was on this? Jay Wild. AUVI looking pretty good here. Looks like it does want to take out the pre-market. We've tried a couple of times and immediately got knifed back. The first time we went as high as 183. So this actually looking pretty good here. I think if this volume keeps up and expands, that could be a long side trigger here. So yeah, AUVI, this is actually looking pretty decent.
I'll look to see if we can get up to 104.95s first on CrowdStrike. I'm not going to sell here. SPY is taking a nice little leap up, so look for stocks to stay strong. Remember we talked about how AMD on a bad Intel report, AMD pushing there, 75, not looking bad there. Intel climbing back the wall of worry. Look at that. Right back. That's an important catch there, right? So if stocks are going to climb the wall of worry, right back. Well, we're going to see a lot of stocks just start coming up and staying strong. SoxL was another way to play today. 1470s resistance, right? You got up there, you went right to it, then you pulled back towards the VWAP, giving you that opportunity, pushing up there from the 1460s. Not a bad play if you guys are playing SoxL on the day. Good push there to 1495. We'll see if we can keep working, team. Let's see what happens out there. All right. I know that someone talked about Fire battery. That's coming down there towards around 850s. We'll see if that breaks. Doesn't look good right now on the chart, right? And you're seeing a lot of up and down action. What I do in a stock like that, I start looking at the monthlies. And the monthlies don't look good, especially on the turnaround of 15. You could be coming back down below 8s. You always got to know your outs on trades like this, even if they're long term. What's your out? What's your pain trade there? Because like a lot of times, you can get stuck with a bag if you don't know you're out.
C3 AI, excuse me, C3 AI, monster move here. We actually got the formation that we really like too, right? The push up, retrace, and then break right through and continued run here. Great move on C3 AI. One of the things that seems to be floating around quite a bit is artificial intelligence as the next possible theme, right? So very much like EVs, anything that had connection to the EV world, whether it was a charging infrastructure or a car company or otherwise, seemed to make some pretty big moves along with that sector. And it looks like AI, kind of coupled with what we're seeing from Chat GPT, AI seems to really be one of the next themes. Now, I don't know if C3 AI is going to be the leader. We're definitely seeing a great move here today, but it would be worth kind of watching some of these different AI stocks, seeing how they perform, and then trying to figure out which one is best in breed if you are going to go ahead and trade that. By the way, QNCX trying to curl here, found some support at 116, trying to move back through the 120 area, VWAP at 133. So to me, that would really need to show some strength above the VWAP in order to get me excited about that.
All right, hanging in that crowd strike for right now. We'll see what happens, but definitely that AI, we've talked about it on At the Close. People are just buying it also just because of the ticker name, I feel.
Yeah,
it's not even deep in look in there. That's kind of that retail style trade momentum, right?
And see, that's kind of what I mean by it being a theme, right? I mean, you have the company's name is literally AI. So if you're going to try to trade the AI theme, you're at minimum going to look at this and probably take a stab or two at it. Noticed here in the chat here, Mark saying, liked the Tesla calls today. I could see a run today. Mark, good eye there. I actually saw a lot of Tesla calls coming right out of the gate here today. Where, I mean, look at this. There were only a few puts in here. The most of this from the morning, I guess right here, it was a little bit of both. But for the most part, this is call heavy, without a doubt. Huge. Look at this. Look at this. The ones that expire here today. Someone bought 2,700 contracts. So yeah, we saw that out of the gate here. We're actually seeing some repeat call buying. Tesla having a nice strong move out of the gate here. Sharp eye, Mark. I think you're probably right on that. Yeah, Sheldon. So this is a really good comment here, and I want people to think about this, kind of keep this on the back burner here. Sheldon says eventually companies are going to have a no AI label on them as a marketing ploy. Sheldon, I can't tell if you're joking, serious, or what side you fall on this, but I think you're exactly right. One of the things right now is that if Google detects that you're using AI generated content, they're going to rank you lower in your SEO, right? So there's already algorithms, programs looking for AI generated content. And I would imagine that as AI content starts to saturate everything, you're going to have that bend back towards real man-made content. And I agree with you completely. You'll eventually start seeing some of this stuff for no AI as part of the marketing strategy for that.
Will you though, Ryan? One thing that I want you guys to keep in mind, who runs those sites, right? Google and Microsoft, right? A lot of that, what you're going to find, right? Well, they're working their way into AI. Do they really want to down AI?
I don't know if they want to down it. I think they just want to tame it, right? I mean, we had Urban Farms Project.
Why would they want to tame it, Ryan? I understand what you're saying, but like on the company sense, what would that make sense for Microsoft or Google?
Well, you're asking about, I mean, Microsoft and Google are going to benefit tremendously from AI, but I think that then let me ask you this, Mitch, why is Google limiting your SEO results if they discern that your content is primarily generated by AI?
That's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if this is going to change, because it doesn't make sense for those companies that want to push AI to hit AI content.
I just think that they don't want AI to be the primary driving factor of a company's value proposition, right? They want some type of human thought, idea, or continued action to be part of that company's value.
This is big deal. It's big deal, because I'll tell you right now, it very much could change like an instant. And I think this is something we all need to really pay attention to.
Sheldon bringing up another good point here. Sheldon, I think that you were answering Mitch with this. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I have no intention of putting words in your mouth. Sheldon is saying scams, right? That might be one reason why you want to kind of limit that. Goes on to say consumer protection, which kind of fits in line to scams. The Ivanhoff made a nice tweet about this topic. I'm not familiar. Ivanhoff, excuse me. Geez, I'm not familiar with this tweet. If you could link that in the chat, that'd be great. Just as kind of a close the loop type thing there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just focusing in here.
No, you don't have to be sorry. That's totally fine. Valiant Goat. This is funny. Google saying only I may AI. That's funny.
It's just interesting, though. It
is interesting, and full
something to think about.
I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
I don't know either, guys. Like,
that's what makes a market.
It's something that I'm just keeping an eye on, right? Do got to go ahead up and probably set the risk here for CrowdStrike. It's taking too long. This is when I get a little bit upset because I'm missing plays, right? This is where I got to get a little bit better. If I'm going to be just day trading in and out every day, well, then I need to be better at catching the ones that were the better plays, right? That had the better kind of little pops. A part of that is also, I mean, just trying to catch everything that's moving for you guys out there too. But I think that one of the things that I'm going to be working on more and more is, instead of just looking at these like that, I'm going to be trying to take just more going back to my swing trade approach, because that's the way that I can go ahead and take multiple tickers. If I go on swing trade volume, like swing trade sizing, I can handle trading 10 tickers at a time. I can't day trade 10 tickers at a time for right now.
Real quick here, Crow. I love this, man. Skynet is one of the reasons John Connor sent Kyle Reese in 2029. We're not that far away from it. That's pretty funny.
I mean, we're not, right?
Jay Rice, good morning, my man. Hope you're doing well. Nuclear names moving here today. LEU, CCJ, URA. I also take a look at UEC here. It's up nearly 4%. I do see this catalyst here. This is from Wednesday, though, not from today. Do you know what is going on in the underlying sector that's causing all of these names to move? Jay, I'll go ahead and take a look at some of these other names here that you mentioned.
Still battling there. SPY pulling back a little bit from 405.50s. It's about 10 o'clock team. We'll look to see if we start seeing a little bit of a 10 o'clock pullback. VWAP around 404.33s on the SPY.
Love this right here. AI content creation has to have source materials, so plagiarism concerns as well, i.e. it scours a bunch of articles and creates a summary or writes its own. There's a legal risk there. John, I didn't even think about that. Great point. I vote for the humans like Mitch, Ryan, and Zunaid. John, thanks. You're going to help keep us employed. We appreciate
no robo
that.
traders, bro.
No robo traders. Forget that.
Forget the robo traders, man. All
okay,
right, team. Finally getting a little lift on crowd. I'll let you guys know if I can get through the high of the day.
Jay, this is helpful. Germany going back to nuclear is all I've seen so far. So that would lead me to believe that if we continue to see headlines about other countries maybe expanding their nuclear program for power generation purposes, perhaps that would cause some of these to extend that move or maybe even amplify that. This is good stuff here. You know, as far as nuclear goes, I believe that this is one of the ways that we're really going to have to focus on in order to provide clean energy for as many people that are on this planet. So I'm in the camp that a lot of these nuclear names are going to proliferate. I don't necessarily have a handle on all of the different business models, so I can't tell you which one I like the most. I guess so far from my limited experience, it's probably going to be Kamiko, right? CCJ seems to be one of the better names. I've traded it before. Maybe that's why. Maybe my bias is bleeding in there. But this is definitely a theme we're going to keep our eye on, Jay. I appreciate you bringing this up.
All right, we got to 104.56 there. I'm going to look to sell some crowd strikes towards 104.90s. I just even put out the order right now. 104.85 on the offer. See, come on, get up there. Get up there. Almost there, team. We'll see if we get that nice little lift there. I'm looking at XOM reversing, so oil might start coming back up. If you guys are seeing some oil names dip, you guys can see on Gush right around VWAP. We'll look to see if that keeps pushing. So I'll show you guys that. Crowd strike on the right-hand side here towards 104.85s. Looking for a little bit more. If it gets to the 105, I'm sure we'll probably get hit there. Boom, right there. There we go. That's what we're talking about, team. Money, 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 money. Bow, bow, bow. Oh.
Ring that register, baby. I know you got the money drop coming.
Boom, boom. Who can play that on the bass out there?
You just given me a weekend project, Mitch. I actually haven't picked up the bass in a while. I've been trying to work on guitar,
Look
but
at that Gush.
learning that bass line would be fun.
All right, there we got through the 105s. Now we can hold towards 104 on the kind of break evenness. I took majority of it off already, paid myself great in CrowdStrike, can now let the trade work for me. What that shows me, I don't even have to look at Pan W to know that it's through the highs. Look how Pan W's through the highs, team. This is what I mean by relationship trading sometimes, right? One thing that I want to work on a little bit more is maybe taking an approach. Like if I know that I want to trade these, right? Like even Sentinel-1, I wanted to trade off the VWAP bounce. Why not just separate my capital into all three of the names and give myself more of that diversified approach on the patterns, right? Because that could give me a little bit of advantage that I don't have to execute so much. Or maybe pairs trading with this particular ETF and that mindset, right? Well, things that I'm working on, like always, one thing that I want to do is get better. I don't only want to trade this way. I want to always work on some new things. So you guys are going to see me, especially in February, I'm going to start trying to do something different and trying to learn some new things. So we'll see what happens. CrowdStrike continuing to work for me now, really giving me a nice lift here. 106, next stop there. We'll look to see if we can get back up towards 106.50s. Then from there, we can really push back even towards 108. So I'm giving this room to run. We'll look to see if that can keep pushing. Gush was a nice one to find there off the VWAP. Now look at XOM coming right back towards the open. AMD staying strong there. Looking to see Intel still continuing to climb the wall of worry. Soxel continuing to push. Nice little play there. Q's probably looking great. 294 on the Q's, man. That is a big move for the Q's. Q's are pushing, team. They're
so
pushing.
is the SPY moving up to the highs here. Chris is saying, we all know your weekend project is playing Tarkov, Ryan. Don't lie. No lies detected. You're absolutely right about that. In fact, I stream it, so go check it out, Nightfall 3 on twitch.tv. But both things can be true, and that is a pretty sweet baseline. But you're right. You're right. You're right.
All right.
Slapping
now
the
I gotta
base.
look around. Slapping the base.
Andy.
Blip, 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 blip.
Andy, I, for one, am really glad that you're here. Hopefully you're having a nice, safe morning. Over.
Look at NVIDIA's VWAP bounce. That was a beauty, team. Beauty move on there. A lot of stocks in the green today, pushing strong. Industrials back up there. Remember that GE short, team? This is why you get out while the getting's good, right? I would have been crushed on that if I didn't get out. I took profits on that down move. Glad I got out before this up move. And this tells me, look at the other ones. Cat continuing. Pakar, we've been talking about it. Absolute monster. Monster from the 100 move. Look for Deer to come back. The Deer starting to work its way back. We'll see what happens on those industrials. What about like a Lockheed Martin? I know that one was starting to reverse with their earnings. That was a great opportunity off the 440 levels. One of the things with Lockheed Martin that I see is good is using monthly levels. Because if you use monthly levels, you can see this kind of closing towards this resistance around 440s, maybe even looking at 450s. That gave you that opportunity on that pullback. I think that's a good opportunity there. RTX, I'm sure, is probably also looking good as of late. Yeah, really starting to push back here. We'll see what happens with these names. These are defensive names. And we'll see if they keep pushing. KTOS starting to come back up on the day. Okay. KTOS doesn't look too bad today. We'll look to see if it takes another step up.
AI no chill, continuing to go towards the highs here. Big move, 10% now on AI here just today alone. You know, I think I actually have a watch list here with AI and automation. Let me check that out here real quick. Let's see what we got. AI automation. So here are some of the names. I'm going to be adding to some of these names. I think CN, didn't this get changed? I feel like that went through a ticker change. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'll look into that here. But anyway, this is what I've got here so far. Did we have? I don't even have AI on this list. Oh, I think I probably started this as an automation. What was Big Bear? What's the ticker for Big Bear?
Big Bear, I got you.
It's BBAI. That's what it was. That one I know we've traded off the scanner quite a bit. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build this list up here with our happy hour crew. We've talked about wanting to do this as a project, so hopefully I'll have some more names for you next week.
Nice weekly chart on that BBAI.
Let's check that out. Here, let me throw up your.
Actually like that. Actually like that. So you see, it doesn't look. It's confusing on the daily, but look how the weekly looks. Inside week.
Yep.
Now trying to take this out. So that looks a lot cleaner, right? When you clean it up on a weekly basis.
Love that formation, Mitch. How many times have we talked about that formation? I mean, how many times? I absolutely love it. Actually, this BBAI doesn't actually look all that bad. Maybe this does trade up and move above 4 if we have continued headlines and momentum here in the AI space.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. I say definitely keep your eye on it, team. CrowdStrike looking to work it toward the 106, and then I can start taking some profit. We talked about how this daily also looked good for this kind of like trend line move. Now it can really start holding 104.50s on pullbacks, really start working its way back towards like 106.50s. First stop is 106. Going to take majority of it off there, and then just leave the tiniest little bit there to keep running. Of course, we'll see what happens there. If I could just take a little bit more off on 106, I can take the rest of it off as it keeps pushing higher. All right, let's get taking a look at some other stocks. Don't want to get stuck on one, right? You can just let that work now. We can look around to see if we can find another trade. Let's see how VLO is doing today. It's starting to recover. Just got back above the VWAP. We'll look for pullbacks on that. That doesn't look too bad. Smaller stock showing up for me, CLNE. I know that you guys like to look at these smaller names, so just starting to work its way back. Nothing that I would be jumping out of my seats for right now. AMTX, that one looks a little bit better, but still small name. All right, looking around, let's go to the SPY to see what else we got out there. Making big moves on the day. ODFL, Old Dominion Freight Lines, getting a nice day there. Nice chart, above 320s. Relative strength and holding the 9 EMA on pullbacks right now as that continues higher. RHI, Robert Half Internet? Do you know this one?
No. Internet?
Internet.
Staffing and outsourcing services. I gotta say, I'd have no idea what that is.
I mean, it's an $8.6 billion company, and we have no idea about it, Ryan. Isn't that crazy? When you find new tickers every day, team. You never heard.
You do. That's for sure.
All right, NVIDIA working strong. We've talked about technology today. Industrials, we've gone through some of those. Real estate having a good day. Basic materials bouncing back. Let's look at what's been strong there. Wouldn't you know it? Lumber, man. I've been calling this out on my Twitter. What is going on in lumber production? If lumber is going to come strong, we got to be careful for inflation, team. That's this WFG in the last five trading days, up about 23% as it's come down towards a monthly low and starting to push. I'm gonna keep my eye on some of these lumber names. I don't trade lumber often, but who knows? These don't look too bad. BCC is another one that I would give a close eye to. Look how it's been lifting off after the recent pullbacks. Looks like it wants to get to 75.
You had mentioned real estate there, or a company. What was it? A home builder? I'm sorry, I can't remember the ticker you literally just mentioned, because we also got the pending home sales month over month for December, 2.5% versus an expected negative 0.9%. So big beat there to the upside. And perhaps that's having an impact on some of those stocks.
The cuz, you don't know the cousins, bro? Cuz. CUZ, bro.
I'm not up on my REIT game. That's for sure. We
gotta get up on our REIT game, bro. Come on, cousins property.
Sheldon here again. Sheldon, great stuff here this morning. Getting ready for building season. I've heard this from a number of different realtors, right, that deal with new home construction as well as just sales, and saying that, yeah, it's a seasonal effect, right? March is generally when that starts. So you're seeing some gear up here, maybe a little bit of buying ahead of that season. There's definitely a seasonality effect here going on. So,
like to mention, team, one that I was watching earlier, I was thinking about buying near 96 because there's support. I didn't get it earlier because Morgan Stanley was coming down fast there, but 96 looked like a really nice level. Now it's starting to hold above this. This actually looks good. If I could get one more pullback towards like 96.22s, I'll take my shot here in Morgan Stanley. Looks like we might get it now. Come on, just pull back a little bit towards the 25. If not, I don't want to get it up here because it's just a little bit ways away, but it did look good here. Nice bullish engulfing candle here on a nice little levels. We'll look to see if it keeps pushing.
One thing to take note here: Bitcoin pushing to the highs here, right? So Bitcoin highs at 23,290. Looks like this is the third attempt at this level. I wouldn't be shocked if we actually broke above that. Interesting part is it doesn't look like Mara and Riot have really reacted to that yet. Keep in mind, though, I was just taking a look here at AUVI. Let me pull up Mara. Keep in mind really that some of these, even with Bitcoin, well, I guess Bitcoin sits still down from its previous close, but nonetheless, Mara and Riot really seem to extend, right? They had more upside in the recent Bitcoin move up. Today, it looks like Bitcoin having a nice move here this morning. Mara and Riot, maybe there's more to this. Maybe a break above 870 and these go.
I wouldn't mind scalping off like maybe 860s, but you have to hold towards around like 52, or at least from my eyes right now. We'll look to see if we get up there through 870s. It would be more of a scout play for me on Mara. The one thing it does look good is that you have that 1 hour pullback level right around here, right towards around 850. And so that looks good there to hold that. If it wants to come back ripping, especially towards like 875, I think you could get some lift through that 875. It doesn't look bad. Actually, you know me, and I don't even like these names, but technically wise, kind of like Mara right now. You can see here on the hourly chart how it's trying to set up, and it's like basing right around this 850. If it gets up there towards like that trend line and just starts pushing through like to 9, it'll look good maybe to get back up towards, let's say, 909. Then you got 919, 936. Not bad ones to watch right now.
Getting a couple of mentions for HKD here. This is AMT Digital. This is the scam central stock here. This really moving on volume. I don't really think that there's any news or any underlying catalyst here other than traders. Yeah. So this looks like this is moving here. I wouldn't trade it. If you're in it, good luck. Looks like the move through 1050 sent us about $1 here. Topped out at 1150.
Morgan Stanley hasn't pulled back either. It's just holding in there. It actually looks good. JPM strong today off the VWAP. Goldman Sachs went back towards that daily level, bounced off that 340, and it's just working its way back. That's how easily we can get trapped, right? So Goldman Sachs did the run right into earnings. Bomb, got hit right back down to support. They buy it right back. That's how the big boys work, team. They buy it into that move. They sell it to you, and then they buy it right back. When you're stopping out here in the 340s, they're buying it right back. Seems like the big boys are in on Goldman Sachs, and that shows me more because JPM coming right back towards the highs. Banks is an area I don't want to be missing out on right now, team. There's some potential here. So Bank of America is the laggard, right? Look how it's been reacting the last couple of days, even though these stocks haven't been the strongest. Look at that. That tells us something. Rotations going into the banks right now. And a lot of this is what? Soft landing narrative that's pushing the banks.
Yep. Good point.
So I like to catch moves like that. You can see it. Probably Citi's an interesting one to look for. A 52 move higher. We'll look to see if that one holds right now. Doesn't look too bad. Citi on the day. It doesn't look too bad, right? That chart right here. It's multiple days. This is an hourly chart. But a nice little pullback right now. Holding towards 51.72. Working its way back there towards 52.50s. Not a bad looking chart right now.
Boyle up 4% here.
I know that there's FAZ for the bear side. What's the bullish one? I don't trade that one often. The financial.
FAS, FAS, sorry.
FAS, there you go.
FAS and FAZ are those two.
Yeah, that one looks good today if you're looking for that leverage style play, right? Banks overall. Look at this. Interesting, right? So we're really getting out of a little bit of a bearish trend here. You can see here how we're really starting to push now above the trend line and now starting to hold that 85. Yeah, financials looking good. And I honestly, I think I've said that maybe, Ryan, in my 4-6 years of trading, maybe once. The financials look good.
Yeah, the bank trade has been so difficult. I've had not a lot of luck timing it.
Maybe PNC, man. You know how that one's a favored one. I actually kind of like this. Doesn't look too bad if I could hold the 160 on pullbacks.
Maybe it's just me, but I've worked for two banks and
that hurts you, man. That hurts.
It crushed my soul.
Hurts the mentality.
Yeah,
hurts the mentality, man.
Not a good experience.
I wonder what the chat thinks about the banks. AXP, of course, with that COF. Look at this, continuing higher. How's COF? There you go, team. At least I was able to give you guys the outlook for that Capital One. Look how this had a nice little kind of just a pause day, now continuing higher. Of course, it's not as good as the first Capital One day, but when we got this pop, what did I say? You look for that AXP to start looking strong, especially with that nice report. Now it's starting to get higher. 160 is the area where I'd really look for pullbacks, but you're far from there. You're up back towards 171. Look how this thing has these patterns on the daily chart that are really interesting. It did this kind of up pattern, then came back, did this down pattern, now breaking out of it and coming right back towards the resistance. So there you guys see it. Right back towards that 170 area. So you could see it come pulling back from there, but really good day there from American Express.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, one of the other things that you have here, Mitch, is you have the makings of a floating island right here. So we've talked about this quite a bit. Now, we don't have the island breaking above into new all-time highs, but still we can monitor this. Thadder here saying AXP volume already ahead of the 10-day average. Great to see here. Looks like, oh, by the way, HKD, sad trombone. That thing is getting absolutely destroyed right now. Huge pullback. We'll look at that in a little bit. Excuse me. AXP here, floating island though. So what I would do here for this is I would today mark off both the high and the low of this particular candle. Wait for a back test near the bottom of the range and then a curl back towards the high. That could be a potential swing long opportunity here on AXP. You want to wait for this candle to fully develop, however. Here's HKD, by the way. Just running it up only to slam it right back down. Yikes. I wonder if this is going to get halted at some point here. Guys are talking about Foxo. I didn't even see that on my scanner. I wonder what happened here. Oh, this is a penny stock. Oh, this is actually a nice move here for the penny stock. For you penny players, nice little move here off 60. Foxo, FOXO.
kind of like MRO right now, but I'm kind of waiting for it. I want to see the volume start coming in a little bit more, pull back right below towards the 90, and then come back around. Looks good off the 29s, but I'm waiting right now patiently on MRO. We'll look to see if I attack it or not.
QNCX looks like this is still having trouble getting above its VWAP here. So QNCX really struggling. Come on, VWAP, let's go. So every time it runs to the VWAP, kind of a head fake as it trades above it and then gets rejected. QNCX does not have the strength yet. Sydney's saying, great chart, TDW. Sydney, haven't you brought this one up here before? I feel like Tidewater. What does this company do? Good God, what a great chart here for a swing trade. Holy smokes. Nice little double up off of 22. That was from September of last year. This is a really good chart. Sid, what is this? I think you've brought this up before. Offshore service vessels and marine support services to global offshore energy. Yeah. You've brought this up before. I've looked at this before. So these are the people that do offshore operations. This is like refueling and stuff for like service vehicles. Looks like it. What a great chart here. Well, I wish this was on my radar, or better yet, I wish this was in my portfolio. So this is related to oil. Jay, does this trade with oil? Does this trade with the oil numbers? Doesn't look like it. Great chart, though. Damn.
Quick one for Daddy Backstrap. GD, look for the long-term trend line to hold on the monthly. You went right to the wick, right to the spot, right where that monthly trend keeps holding. Who has a tendency of trading off monthly charts? Institutionals. Don't forget that.
Every time you say Daddy Backstrap, I have visions of Amaranth saying Daddy Landmark, and it just makes me laugh. So probably an inside joke there for people involved in the Twitch community, but my goodness, every time you do it without fail. Hold on.
Good to notice that, Daddy. Another thing, Backstrap, you see increased volume on the pullback. That shows me buyers, not really sellers. It's harder because you have to do a deeper time frame chart, though.
So MD here mentioning that oil looking so strong going forward with China easing. So this is actually a discussion that we had in the happy hour yesterday. And one of our happy hour members is actually very, very up on all of the different Asian markets. In fact, he lives in Taipei, an American that lives in Taipei. And he confirmed that this is the case, right? This is a really good point. As China continues to open after a multi-year lockdown, they're a huge consumer of oil. And that should increase as that reopening takes place, right? So as that glide path continues, you should see more and more here for oil names. This is a really good point.
All right, gonna look for that MRO pullback here. If I can get it back below towards 2890s, I'm gonna look for it to come back through 29s. We'll see what happens there.
Thadder, great thought process here. Absolutely love this. Target to benefit from Bloodbath and Beyond's demise. I totally agree with that. And I like the way you're thinking here, right? If you see one of these things about to go under, that's going to get picked up by somebody else. I think you're spot on here with Target.
I've taken the shot on Target, this gap filling a couple times, team. I've been burnt, I think, twice. I've made profits once, but been burnt on it twice, like that it just doesn't keep going. That was on these pops. Can he start going now and fill this gap? I mean, we're talking about a gap that's back from kind of 22 in June, right? I don't know. It's interesting for me. It did do this kind of undercut and rally type of trade. It doesn't look too bad, especially maybe risking off 165. It's a tough one for me, team. We'll see what happens. I kind of like it, but I'm not taking the swings right now on Target. It just doesn't seem like the number one stock to get into right now. But then again, if the narrative trains in the market back to somewhat value, this could be a really nice play. I'm fighting myself on it. What is happy hour?
So the happy hour, good question. Happy hour is a Zoom-based meeting. It's not a webinar, which means that all of the participants are encouraged to use their microphone to add and contribute to the discussion. It is a Zoom-based 1-hour call that takes place every day right after the market closes for Benzinga Pro members. So what we do is we talk about, it's not about, I'm technically the host, but it's not about whatever content that I want to talk about. It's really dedicated to the viewers. What stocks do they want to talk about? I try to rely on the skills of all of the viewers in that call as well. Former analyst in there, real estate agent in there, former private equity veteran in there. Lots of people from lots of different backgrounds that are contributing their expertise to the overall discussion. Got a lot of technicians in there that like sharing charts and sharing discussions and ideas. It's been a really good program since we started it, but it is only for Benzinga Pro members. So if you're thinking about joining, you should give it a shot. Jump on in there, see what the happy hour is all about. Get in there, get involved. Have a great time, and hopefully you'll be able to walk away with something very valuable.
All right, trying to get in here on the MRO pullback. I've talked about the levels that I want. We'll look to see if I can get in during those levels. I'm looking for 90 to be that first entry. Then I have it ordered down there, stacked in, looking at like 87, 83, 81s. You guys know I've been working more on that sizing in approach. XOM pulling back here, that's something to keep in mind. I don't want that to get through the lows, but if it can VWAP bounce, we won't look too bad. We'll see what happens.
Ryan, I'm still waiting for it to become its own paid service. Voodoo, I would not be opposed to that. I go back and forth on this. Number one, by keeping it free, we encourage more and more people to join. Doesn't cost anything, and obviously we're not guaranteeing any type of returns or anything on that. So nice for it to be free. However, I think that if it was able to be turned into a paid service, perhaps there could be more production angles added to it. So I'm kind of experimenting. I definitely want to make it better and better, and I'm willing to take suggestions as well. So definitely noted. And then the other thing I wanted to mention here, Quantum. I was at Trader Joe's last night, and Zunaid's butter chicken was all sold out. It's all Zunaid's fault. Shake fist. Lol. We will let the Indian Prince know that he bought out all the.
I think he might actually join us towards the end of the stream.
Oh, great!
He might. I know he's on All Access next, so. He might join us. It was
his birthday yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, you guys got to give him a shout out on All Access. Team out there, do us a favor. A favor from my man Zunaid. Come to All Access. That's going to be up next. That's going to start at 11. Just at least go in there and give my man a happy birthday. Show him the love, team. This will redirect you over there. You don't even got to worry. At least just go over there and say hi to my friend. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what else is making moves. I got in on that pullback. I got 2 entries so far on that MRO. Looking to add some more entries right now. 28.89 is the average. Look to add down there towards now 83s and kind of that 79. Hold off 77s. Want to see this can reverse right back up. And if oil can continue the trend, we'll see what happens here. XOM is pulling back there, so we'll see what happens. SPY is trying to push back, so you guys can look for like stocks that have stayed strong to stay strong, right? Look at that Amazon. Oh, I told you it was going to be my FOMO move of the day. That one. Look at Amazon just go.
Yeah, that's
off that 100.
Really,
you could have made that 102 move.
I told you that 100 level really, really important. And shout out to our chat here. Because they were all over FOXO, right? FOXO. So this is a move really through 60. We're as high as 129 now. This has been several halts to the upside here. So what were you saying? Let's see the third halt stat. Okay, so is this the third halt? Let me see. It looks like halt, resume, halt. So this is the second halt, right? By my count, did it get halted earlier that I missed here? Nope, looks like this is the second halt. Second. Okay, cool. So let's see how that ends up materializing here. What do we got? This halted at 10:28. So we got 3 minutes until this unhalts. We shall see where this goes. QNCX continuing to break down, really just not even strong enough to get above its VWAP. Take a look here. AUVI not really doing much anything either. Bloodbath and Beyond still under that 269 level. AI off its highs, but holding some of its gains there. Not bad. How's Chewy doing? Chewy kind of slowing down after that nice gap up. Not really seeing much of anything here. SPY, just kind of normal. Not really. Bitcoin hanging around. Apple at highs. Here's another. Here, you guys ask about swing trades all of the time. I don't even know if I would consider this a swing trade at this point. For any of you people that have been to Chicago, you're probably familiar with Portillo's. This is actually a longer term investment for me. You could consider a swing trade if you'd like. Full disclosure here, my cost average on this is 1776. So I own it from lower than where it's at right now. I generally don't like to mention stocks that I own lower from where they're at because I'm not trying to pump this. But the story here on this one, really like it. 600 store expansion. Portillo's makes the best Italian beef I've ever had. That includes Al's, by the way. Don't at me. Also, really great food, and the store expansion I think is going to go really well. Also, never closed a store. That's the stat that I was waiting for. They've never closed a store in their history. They're that popular. So really excited for Portillo's. This is a multi-year hold for me. I'd actually like to see triple-digit prints on this at some point. 1776 is a good omen. That's what I thought too, Crow. I'm actually kind of hesitant to add to it because I don't want to ruin my average, as stupid as that sounds, but I thought the same thing.
It's been a good day so far for the Bulls, staying in control, right? We'll see if that can keep pushing for the day. Hasn't been bad. I mean, overall, Bulls still have control. Thoughts on Standard Lithium?
Yeah.
Well, I thought I knew all the lithium names. I did not.
Jay, this is a great point. I actually wanted to bring this up earlier and I got sidetracked. I appreciate you saying this. Don't look now, but VIX at a 52-week low. So the VIX, every time that the VIX has traded down into an 18 handle, we've bounced from there. Last one, I believe the dead low was 1806 or thereabouts. Let me see if I can find that here. Maybe it was 19. I don't know. You're saying that this is a new 52-week low, and you're a sharp guy, so I trust that. Let me see. Yeah, 1801. I'm sorry, 1801 is that low print. We're at 1823, so we are approaching a new potential 52-week low here on the VIX. The one thing to note is that every time we get to the bottom of this range, we bounce. So I would not be shocked if this holds up here for today. The market holds up like it is here today. Would not be shocked if we actually have kind of a down day on Monday.
Getting a down hit there in the oil market. XOM coming down fast here. So canceling my last ad there on MRO. Got 28.88 as the average, holding to the 77s right now. And this is less than a full position. So it's going to be really small risk on the day. To put it in perspective, only about less than a fifth of our profits right now from CrowdStrike. Seeing a turnaround here, team. Just be careful out there. Foxo. Yeah, Foxo out of the halt. Let's go. It hasn't halted earlier, right? Yeah. There's only two. Let's see if it goes to the third halt.
K-Chat asking Ryan, so what does VIX low mean? So when the volatility is low, that's what it means, right? The volatility is low. The point of what we're discussing here in terms of these particular levels is more pattern recognition, right? As the volatility kind of dries up, eventually it gets low enough to a point where it then expands, and this is the normal ebbs and flows of the market. So what we're talking about here is potential spots for this to bounce. And if you're able to monitor the VIX while trading some of these other instruments, whether it be the futures or some of the ETFs like SQQQ and TQQQ, this can actually go into your toolbox to help you make entries and exits. That's what we're mentioning.
All right, liking this to turn around on MRO, so it doesn't look too bad now.
Humble Ninja, Ryan, do you know of any live networking groups for traders in Chicago? Great question. I don't off the top of my head. That would be something to look up, though. I obviously, anytime that Benzinga does an event here in Chicago, I'm a part of that. I've also met a lot of the Strat guys. Rob, of course, is headquartered here in Chicago. So if you're familiar with the Strat, you're probably familiar with him. I've gone to his office. I've met some of his people. But no, this is a really good question. I don't necessarily have that off the top of my head.
NVIDIA trying to push there, staying strong on the day, man. That's been a nice rip, nice VWAP bounce if you were able to grab NVIDIA today.
Okay, chat. Generally speaking, as the VIX goes lower, the broader market goes higher, and vice versa. Now, obviously, that's not a 100% correlation. In some cases, you have outliers. In some cases, we call it divergence, right? The VIX will continue to drop and the market drops at the same time. We normally don't see that, but it can happen. So it's just another tool to watch to try and make sense of what's going on in the market. UVXY, this is a common volatility ticker that people trade. I'll say this, I've donated more money than I care to admit to the VIX fund. I don't even trade these things anymore. I tried to time it. It's very, very difficult. Like Jay Rice is saying here, if you take a look at those charts, in fact, I can actually pull this up here while we're talking about it. Take a look at those charts. They just constantly decay, UVXY, right? And they, as it gets lower and lower and lower, they reverse split it. And so Jay's here saying that usually reverse splits in the under 5 area. That's exactly where we are right now, right? 481. If you take a look at a longer term chart here, you can see this is not actually down from 50 million. What is that? How many zeros there are there? Yeah, 500. Oh, no. 50, yeah. This is not down from 50 million. This never printed 50 million a share. It's just constant reverse splits. So if this, folks, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm
No
fighting
worries.
off cold here. But if this is the type of chart that you like to trade, man, just be careful. This gives me anxiety. It does. I don't know what else to tell you. It gives me anxiety.
Hey, at least you're honest about it, right? Target VWAP bouncing a little bit there. That doesn't look too bad. Need to start taking more of those swing trades. Costco having a decent day there too. Big lots. The big lots, man. The lots of all of lots. Ollie bargain outlet. Nothing there. Looking around industrials. Let's look at the airlines. Hanging out there. Pulling back towards the 1650. I've been looking for a pullback on airlines for a while. I don't know if we're going to get a team. All right, you guys call out some Crow. AUVI. Don't know that one. But I like the chart. I like the 15-minute.
AUVI was on our list here from this morning.
It's a purdy one.
We really couldn't get above this area here, this 170 area. Really struggling. The one time that it popped beneath it, it was knifed right back down. We really want to see some expanding volume. This actually looking like this could be a potential candidate for the afternoon run. If it holds this level here, and then all of a sudden we get some more volume flow back into this, maybe this can run this afternoon like we've seen.
Oh, I like it right now. I'm not getting in it, but I like it. At least chart-wise, it's pretty. Really pretty. You look at the hourlies, you'll see a lot of bodies that close above 150. What did you do today? You went to the further body down on the wicks towards around the 142s at the 140 area. You recover the 150, and then there's a bigger candle on the 5-minute at the 1005 that goes right to 150 and holds. That's where I feel like the majority of the volume is in the 150s. And now you're looking to see if you can get that expansion back towards 183. Doesn't look too bad there, team. Still in MRO. I set the stop there at the 72. We'll see what happens there. Just trying to let that one work. Still in CrowdStrike. That one could stop me out at any moment. I set the stop on that. I've already taken profits on CrowdStrike, so I never feel bad about that. There's certain times where I'm trying to let myself focus on other trades. This one doesn't look too bad there. AUVI. We'll look to see if that takes off. I don't even know what industry that is. ALV mentioned in the chat. Auto parts name. Having a good day. Ooh, yeah, nice day there. I don't know this one. It's an auto part name. Let's take a look at ASO. Or not ASO. I'm having trouble with that. What are the auto part ones? AAP,
AZO, that's AutoZone.
AZO.
And then ORLY, that's
Thank you.
O'Reilly.
The O'Reillys.
Yep.
That's my favorite. I don't know. The commercials got me. O'Reilly's Auto Part. Man, O'Reilly's. If I would have just been an employee in O'Reilly's in high school and took a crap ton of stock from them, I'd be banking, man. Look at this chart, Ryan.
Yeah, it's
Back when I was like in,
Well,
maybe
remember,
like,
Becca shops there, remember? So she's obviously driving the price higher.
look at that thing, dude. In the last 15 years, this is up 2,525%, Ryan. That can make you a lot of money. And it's not like it's like a company that didn't exist, right? I think we all saw O'Reilly start coming around the neighborhood. And I mean, it's just been the company that's stuck around. Costco too. Yeah, Costco. When I was in high school, I should have been buying Costco, man. And I went to Costco in high school. Come on, Mitch. Should have thought about it. This is why it's important to buy some stocks when you're young, man. This is why I think, you know how a lot of people get like birthday presents and they give like kids like a birthday present, Ryan?
Yeah,
I'm going to start giving kids just stock.
Yeah. It's a good idea. I mean, it's
right?
a really
just
good
giving
idea.
them stock, man. They'll thank you. In 20 years, they're going to come to your door and be like, thank you so much. You know what I mean? Like, someone would have grabbed me some stock back then. I probably would have been mad at first. In the long run, I'd be probably knocking on your door, right? SPY continuing. It tried the VWAP bounce just slightly before on the 5-minute. Went to 405, 404.98. Can we hold 405 here? Especially maybe you can wick to 404.75. But I don't want to see a close below the VWAP here. We'll see what happens there on the SPY. For the trend to continue, we'll see. Got hit on that MRO little tick back there. You can see that it's actually the low of the day. Looks like I might have gotten a little stop hunted on that MRO, but stopped out, small stop out there. And that's just how it goes, team. You can't get upset about it. It is what it is. Got stopped out on that recent down move. I'm out. We did add also in the 83. So let me just get that. All right, we'll see what else is going on. Let's look around. I'm still in the crowd strike. That's still hanging on by a thread. It could stop me out right here, team. It's like right off of my entry where my stop would hit me. It'd be right below that 103.90s. Our average is 103.90s. I have like 80s on the stop because it just gives me a little bit room because it's a spread. But we'll look to see if CrowdStrike just stops me out or if it bounces right back to the upside. Looking around to see what else is making moves. Oracle had been a really strong stock and it's starting to come back to the upside. I actually like this chart. Have you been seeing this chart, Ryan, as of lately?
I'm sorry, man. I was in the middle of something else.
No worries. No worries, man. If you got to focus on something, keep focusing on it. I got this. I'm just looking at Oracle right now. It's having a decent day coming back here. Nice looking chart here on the 5-minute, right? Just put in a nice little candle. We'll look to see if this keeps pushing. But really, I was looking to see if Adobe was going to start being strong with that Oracle being strong as of late. So I've been really watching kind of Adobe. It's been lifting. Hasn't had a bad day today. Pushed past that 368. Now pulling back here, maybe around the 365. Looks like a good entry. We'll see what happens. I'm looking at it at least. And Oracle doesn't look too bad either. CRM also has been strong. That CRM, good Salesforce. Look to see if it can catch the dip there. SPY still battling, trying to hold that 405 right now. How's the Amazon trade? Oh, that wasn't a bad one. Up to past 102.50s, 102.68s. What a move. Mara rocketing up. Quantum. We were looking at it. Oh, it did that move. Look how it comes to my trend line. Right on the kisser, team. Right on the look at that trend line drawn.
And remember, when we first talked about Mara, it hadn't broken out like that. And we had said Bitcoin looks like it's strong here today, but Mara hasn't moved with it yet. Now we finally get that here. Big pop. Looks like they brought it right back down.
I actually
on Mara
like it
here
still
as well.
here on this little pullback to 870s. Now you want to see that kind of 9 EMA action hold. 9 EMA right now, 963, right? And so maybe you're going towards the 1 even, right? And so, but I'm using the 5 on this because that's just what I was looking at. I would even use the hourly on a trade like this and be looking towards getting as close to here as possible and holding as close to the bottom as possible, looking for a nicer risk to return, right? We're looking for a move back towards 918. See if we get that. SPY also continuing higher would be a good move. Now we're seeing the down move through the 405. So just be careful there. We'll look to see if we get some recovery because the SPY just kind of cracked there. Out of the crowd strike there on that downturn there. Lost about $3 on the last little remaining shares with the slippage. But, I mean, not going to be mad about that, right? Good day overall in the green, team. Battling. We'll see what we get. See if we get another trade in here today. Just being patient.
By the way, that VIX really curling up off the 815 low that we just talked about. We literally were talking about it when it made its low print back up to 1852 here. And if you take a look at the market, just take a look at the SPY. That you guys were asking earlier about the correlation here with VIX and what that means for the overall market. Well, VIX bottomed here at 815, started to curl back up here. Look at the market.
All right, looking at pullbacks right now, see what's going to happen here. I am starting to see certain sectors going into the red, energy getting hit hard, defensives and basic materials turning around after they were strong. So be careful on names like that. I did see coal at the top earlier, hard turnaround there in those coal names. Does not look good in the coal names as of late. We'll see what happens on these. ARCH, I think it was Easy that was talking about that one to the short side. That one's really breaking down. That one looks good. Arch Resources, ARCH. Coal names. Santa already brought the coal this year, right? It's not till next year that he'll need some more coal. You bad, naughty boys out there. The Crow, what are you looking at? The Foxo VWAP bounce? Foxo. It's right off of there. BZFD. Let's go to that. So many people wanted to look at this today, right? Well, it's keeping the trend on the 1 hour chart. That's what I would say. You can see how this is kind of had that uptrend there. And then now if you come towards the body close here, 257s need to hold for me in that name. Then you still look positive there. You still look to the bullish side. Look to see if it takes out 3. Of course, that's where you want to see it kind of gain some volume as it pushes. Holding VWAP right now would be nice too. 273s. Look to see if that can keep pushing towards 3 today. A lot of eyes on this tape, right? A lot of eyes. Be careful, team.
Real quick on the SPY, we talked about this before the market even opened today, but it's worth revisiting here, given this sell-off. We are pretty much obeying this resistance area, right? So we pushed up into this resistance area. We pushed up again here today, and now we're coming back in. So let's see where this settles. Too early in the day yet to really draw any conclusions, but I wouldn't be shocked if we actually continued to see some weakness here in the market into this afternoon session and actually close either on or maybe even a little bit below this resistance area here. I do think this is really strong resistance. One of the technicians in the happy hour last night made a case that this candle, although it looks like a hammer, is actually a bearish, actually a shooting star candle, and would expect the market to then roll over afterwards. So let's see where we go here. Market revert. What time was that, Mitch? Was that right at your reversal time? 9:10. Well, excuse me, 10:10.
Yeah, 10 o'clock, 9:45.
10 o'clock, yep.
And if you look at the SPY, what do you see topping around? What time did it top around? 10 a.m. move, right? It did that 10 a.m. to 10:15. It pushed, and right there, it started turning back. Happens often. It's okay. It's just more like sometimes a pause in the action. Now, what really gets you worried is if you come back through opening price. That's when you really get concerned, because now the SPY goes from opening green to opening red, right? And so that would be your 403.35 area.
Al most, unless that's AI most. Interesting. Today's session was one of the best. Thank you. Hey, really appreciate that. I think that you're talking about the show here, but that's great. Let us know what we can do to make it even better going forward here. We're always looking to do better.
Exactly.
Mitch, I am going to jump here, though.
Yeah, no worries. It's 10:52. No worries. We're going to go to 11, get you guys over to all access. That'll be coming up next. Ryan's going to go ahead and hop. What you think of the week, my friend? Not too bad, right?
No, not too bad at all. It went against what I thought should happen, and even so, really not that bad. The way I would leave it here is definitely watch SPY. I think some of the potential stocks that could run this afternoon, let's throw BuzzFeed on there. It is holding up here around 3, but then also maybe QNCX. Take a look at those, see if those end up getting some juice here in the afternoon. As far as SPY goes, remember what we were just talking about here. Wouldn't be shocked to see this come in a little bit. We are in a resistance zone, and we have some pretty low volume, so just watch that. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football. We'll
Who takes the Super Bowl this year? Me and you had the bet last year.
Well, yeah, but didn't we bet when the teams were actually decided? So I'll give you my.
We actually bet way before. Remember the Rams? I had the Rams way before. You took the field.
Oh no, that's right, because I took the field. You're right, and you won that, by the way.
That wasn't too bad, right? Let's do it.
You were the winner there.
Let's see what we got this time. This time around, right? This year.
Think that.
What you got?
I got Cincinnati. I got
Cincinnati.
I don't know. I got
all right. You're back to the Bengals.
I got a gut feeling that Joe Cool here is going to bring home his first Super Bowl this year.
It's going to Philly, man. It's going to the Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
We'll see.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Take care, folks. We'll see you next week.
Hey, just like it is in the market, we got ourselves a market in sports, right? Well, that's the fun part. Jared says the Chiefs. We'll see what happens. MRO trigger time. I already got out. I got out of MRO. Already got hit. But there you guys. I see some Bengals fans. We'll see what happens. All right. March the market tank, says the Twins LV. Why? Why do you say Twins LV? Why would they tank on that moment? All right. We'll stick around, team. We got about 6 minutes left. So I'll see if I can get another trade off here. I did take better trades later in the day yesterday. VLO selling off today. Oil selling off a little bit today. So be careful out there, team. Seeing the pullback there. Looking around to see where the opportunities are. In the green, we had a lot of stocks in the green. Now things are going slightly into the red. Healthcare into the red. Utilities starting to crack right back down. So that could be an opportunity maybe to get short like a Duke name, right? You guys know I've been trying to short these Duke name, but I missed the part of this move. I was short at 105, got stopped out at 105.50. Still kicking myself on that one, but it happens, team. We'll look to see if these can keep coming down. Those are the utility names, healthcare names coming down a little bit today. We'll look to see if healthcare plans are actually taking a hit today. CVS pulling back there, UNH pulling back. So it doesn't look good there for those health plans. Even my ELV that had a nice little move back to 500, pulling back strong today. Be careful in those healthcare plan names. Defensives having a hard time right now. What's doing bad there is household products. Colgate, Palmolive. Look at that. Just taking a beating today. Colgate. Nice little fade off those VWAP bounces too. Let's look to see if PG is just as bad. Look at that. Nice little fades off that. So that's where we probably should have been looking a little bit. That's probably my fault a little bit there, team. Sometimes I will even blame myself if we miss moves. Why? Because I want to be there for you guys, making sure that I'm catching the rotationary moves, right? I talked about financials to the upside today. We'll take a look at that. EL pulling back. UL, Unilever, pulling back strong there. HLN, take a look at these. These don't look that great right now, especially household personal products. Clorox falling off the tape. Coty falling off. These don't look good right now, team. We'll see what happens there. They are pulling back. There are some beauty names that maybe this doesn't look too bad. ELF, because this has been a really strong name. We'll see what happens on these. They are pulling back at least the household and personal products. Be careful on there. All right. We'll see other names pulling back also in communication services. This looks to me like the time where you start seeing AT&T pull back, probably into that gap from their earnings. We'll see what happens there. Doesn't look too bad on AT&T, and it is starting to come back down right now. That one actually, if it could come back to VWAP and I could risk off the 20, I wouldn't mind swinging short on AT&T. We'll see what happens there. All right, catching up other ones. AAL pulling back also. Can this one get back into the daily gap? I want to get back here, team. We can get back towards the 15s. I actually like the airlines this year, but we'll see what happens there. Michael Burry just lowered his projection on the down SPY, calling for an even bigger collapse. We'll see what happens there. Has the trap been sprung? We start asking ourselves, right? Let's go to the SPY overall. SPY now down towards 403.88. I wanted to take a look at SOXS. That one didn't look too bad off the VWAP there, but it's just kind of more of a really quick type of play. So I didn't want to jump on that today. SQQQs getting a little bit of a bounce there to 40s. Not necessarily something that I'd hang out in also. Until we get back to the 400, I'm not feeling that bearish, team. Right here, it's kind of more neutral to me. I'm not feeling like bullish raw on the market, but I'm also not feeling like completely bearish. I'm moving more to a neutral stance here above 400. So below 400, you guys will see me probably start smacking on some shorts. I was looking for some longs today, like CrowdStrike, right? This one could easily pull back up, but I let it go at the right time. Didn't lose on the trade, and always important, right? Giving yourself the ability to take some profit. That's what I did on that first pop through the 105s on CrowdStrike, which also gave me the ability to keep in the battles. We'll see what else is going on. He needs to stop. He's been crying wolf for so long. Yeah, it's how it is, man. We'll see what happens. All right, the dollar. How's the DXY doing? I haven't taken a little peek into DXY today. I'll take a look at that, and then we'll start wrapping up here. It's about 10:58. You guys need to wish my man Zunaid a happy birthday next. He'll be on, of course, All Access. That's starting up at 11 a.m., just about a minute away from here. And the DXY definitely getting a spike. That's going to hurt like gold trade probably today. So if you guys are seeing the gold trade come back down, maybe it's that dollar effect really starting to come in. And if the dollar is spiking, be careful. The market could keep coming down. We don't know which one's really leading it. You guys find out that outlook, but definitely these strong stocks are starting to pull back. Amazon's still strong. That's one that I'll look to see if it closes above 100. That'll still look good. Baba, what's up with Baba today? That actually looks to me like a little bit of a turnaround there. I'm going to keep an eye on the China trade. I think we could get at least a pullback in the China trade, at least longer term. Look at the recent move in Baba from around, let's say, the 90s or below the 90s. If this could come back, let's say, towards 105, this would make sense to me. So it could start pulling back and giving us an opportunity for that pullback opportunity. We'll see on these China stocks. All right, that's going to be 11. That's going to do it for me here on live trading. But like always, you guys stick around for the stories that you could be potentially investing into. That's what All Access is all about, trying to uncover those stories, giving you the insights into these companies so that you can look underneath the hood. My man Zunaid will be on next. And please do me the favor, wish him a happy birthday. He'll be on right now. Hit the like button And for you guys that are in the book club, we've put out the email. So if you didn't receive my email, check your spam, check your junk. I'm probably in there. Mitch@benzinga.com. I've sent you the email so that you guys can join us on the book club this weekend. Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. We'll be starting this week. Don't miss it. Chapter 2 and 3, only for the book club members. So if for any means you aren't on the book club, I'll throw up the link one more time, and I'll bring you guys now to all access. I'll catch you guys a little bit later, and don't miss it. It's going to be fun this weekend. I'll see you guys there. Hit the like button on your way out.
Check